Hello, everyone. Welcome to the playoffs of the VG Casters Cup. I'm Jake, captain of the 5-move Volcaronas, and we have made the playoffs. Very happy to have made the playoffs at a 5-2 record in the regular season, especially after starting out 1-2, getting that nice little run back with the 4 straight wins to close out the season. And that gives me the chance to play against Schwan and Iron Hantwerp in the quarterfinals, which is a fantastic team name. um, and it's the first time I get to play against someone not in my division, so I haven't really been looking at any of the teams from outside my division this whole time, but now I finally get the chance to. And Schwan does have what I think is a very well constructed team. There's a few different things on his team that can kind of be the centerpiece of any given strategy, and that paired with some good support Pokemon can go a long way. See his team over there on the far right side. The main things are kind of the King Gambit and the Primarina. Those are two of the big hitters, two of the best Pokemon in this kind of metagame. Or just in the metagame in general, much less in a format like this where the options are much more limited. So knowing that, I kind of planned my team around having those be kind of the checkmate points for Shimon in this game. I definitely thought that. Excuse me. First of all, at time of recording, I'm a little bit sick. If my voice sounds weird or if I make some gross noises, I'm sorry. I will try to mute myself if that does happen, but apologies in advance. Anyway, I did think the Avalok Slowking mode looks very solid here, just looking through the Pokemon that Shimon had available to him. So let's take a look at the Slowking first. I'm with the Rocky Helmet and Terra Dark this time. Terra Dark just to give me a better way to face off against that King Gambit. I considered something like Fairy, which would resist the Dark as well, but in case it ran Iron Head, I didn't want to give it a different weakness. So Dark was the easy choice there. For attacks, Psychic gave me a way to hit Quillfish super effectively, which I thought would be really important. Quillfish is, I mean, not the most threatening of Pokemon, but against a team like mine where you might want to intimidate against some pretty strong physical attackers, I thought Quillfish was a likely bring for him, so I wanted Psychic to net smack it. Of course, it also hits the Blaziken super effectively, which is one of the few things that resists Rock Slide from Avalugg. And of course, Focus Blast is, again, obviously solely for the King Gambit. I figured if I had Trick Room up, King Gambit can actually switch into most of Slowking and Avalugg's attacks pretty well, and I wanted a way to threaten it and punish it immediately with either of them. I don't expect that to be used too often, maybe once if I get the chance to, but it's just kind of there as a tech to make sure that I'm getting as most value out of my Trick Room turns as I can. I did go for Oblivious, that just blocks Taunt. There's not a great way for Shimon to stop Trick Room against my team, especially if Slowking does go for the Terra Dark, other than throwing Taunt on something like Salazzle or Frostlass. I realized I just cut their names off. Whoopsie. You all know the Frostlass, Salazzle, and Appleton down there. But a few of his Pokemon do learn Taunt, so I figured Oblivious to block that would be the best. Down to the Dugtrio. Again, looking at his team, a lot of ground weaknesses there. You got King Gambit, Electabuzz, Blaziken, Slowking, and Quillfish, and Salazzle, so half the team is weak to ground. He does have the 2 grass types and the 2 immunes, so the Flygon and the Scyther. But I figured Dugtrio in a good position could do a lot of work. I am just the Focus Sash Terra Ground set once again. I think a defensive Terra type on Dugtrio is kind of an oxymoron because you need defenses for your defenses to be boosted, and Dugtrio just doesn't have them. So I'm not going to try and multiply 0 by any kind of Terra there. So I just went with Terra Ground for the extra damage. Earthquake, obvious choice. Rock Slide was to hit Scyther specifically if the Scyther came in. One of the few things that can dodge any damage from those Earthquakes. And I did throw in Reversal here. Again, a theme here is going to be silly ways to cheese the King Gambit. I do think King Gambit can start to snowball out of control unless you have a bunch of things that can hit it for a lot of damage. And so if I do get knocked down to my Focus Sash, I can just use Reversal to knock out the King Gambit. Could be something that isn't expected from this Dugtrio. I haven't run it yet this time around. It is kind of a known, Focus Sash Reversal is kind of a known thing throughout all of competitive Pokemon, and not necessarily in VGC, so we'll see if it works. If I get the chance to use Reversal into the King Gambit, I'll be very happy. Down to the Avalugg. I am Clear Amulet. Again, there's an Intimidate on Schmann's team. I want to make sure that I'm not being intimidated. And so I do have the Clear Amulet there. I'm Terra Fire. This time I didn't want to go for the Stellar because I thought something defensive would be nice. Honestly, I'm kind of forgetting why I chose Fire. I think it was King Gambit. King Gambit is one of the rare physical attackers that can actually threaten Avalugg with a double super effective Iron Head, and Fire will resist that. Also takes away a weakness to like Serena's Power Whip or Blaziken's Close Combat or something. There might have been a better option for the Terra there, but I did kind of just go with the first thing that popped into my mind. I don't know if I'll necessarily need the Terra on Avalugg here. Of course, I am like not necessarily hoping to take too many attacks with it. If I have it in Trick Room, I'm going to be wanting to just fire off really strong attacks and get knockouts as quick as possible. So the Terra type there I don't think will come into play too much. I'm realizing now that should be Sturdy on my Avalugg, so I will change that before we start the game. But I did go for Sturdy this time around because of that Primarina. Of course, the Hyper Voice will do a lot of damage, probably just straight up when it KO me. And so I wanted to be able to at least guarantee one attack. And since I am running Sturdy and not Strong Jaw, like you see on your screen here, I am not running Ice Fang, so I went back to Mountain Gale. It's kind of a stronger Icicle Crash with a flinch chance, so could be some pretty big damage there. Of course, Rock Slide is... I don't know if I'd ever run Avalugg without Rock Slide. It's just really strong in a lot of situations, especially in Trick Room. And of course, attack number 2, actually attack number 3 in the Ways to Cheese King Gambit list is Body Press here. It just gives me a way to hit it super effectively. Avalugg has massive defense. It's also a just not perfectly accurate attack, which sometimes Avalugg can lack. Of course, Mountain Gale and Rock Slide both have a slight mischance, which I don't really want to risk a lot of the time. So I just went with Body Press there. Over to Azumarill, I looked at Shmon's team and a lot of Pokemon. 1, struggles to hit Azumarill for big damage, and 2, take a lot of damage from most of Azumarill's attacks. And with Terra Poison, a pretty defensive option here. It's to avoid super effective damage from either of the 2 Grass-type Pokemon. It gets me away from the electric weakness on the Electabuzz, while also not leaving me weak to something like Close Combat from Blaziken if I went with Steel. So Poison felt like the right choice here. For attacks, actually I don't know if I mentioned, I went with Life Orb just to boost the damage here. If Azumarill gets some turns to start swinging freely, I will be in a really good position. I just wanted to make sure that those attacks, if they come through, will be hitting for as much damage as possible. For attacks, I went with Play Rough, Ice Spinner, Superpower. I was obviously tempted to use Liquidation. It's a great neutral attack into a lot of Pokemon. Of course, it's Blaziken super effectively, and Salazzle. And I'm realizing right now this moveset leaves me very weak to Salazzle, just on the Azumarill. But I thought the others were too important. Play Rough hits almost everything neutrally, if not super effectively. I think there's just the 3 poison types there that take resisted damage, but I have other ways to deal with those. Ice Spinner could be really nice for the Serena, for the Appleton, for the Scyther, for the Flygon. And I think Terra Grass is something that you could very reasonably bring against my team, and so it can punish that pretty well. And then number 4 on Ways to Cheese King Gambit is the Superpower. Again, maybe I'm overstating this a little bit. I just think King Gambit's a really strong Pokemon, especially with the kind of support it has on this team. So if I can find ways to take 1 or 2 cheesy KOs on it, that could be 1 or 2 games I just win for free. And if I win 1 or 2 games for free, I'm probably winning the match in this kind of a format. So that's the reason for Superpower there. Hydreigon, Choice Specs, kind of back to the old classic. Actually, I should say, Azumarill is very fast. I forget the exact investment, but I am outspeeding the Salazzle in Tailwind. Azumarill would be good in Trick Room as well, but I think that defaulting to a Tailwind mode here, because the rest of Shmon's team is not super fast. Like, Salazzle is the fastest Pokemon on his team, and that's only like 117, I think. So I have Dugtrio and Talonflame that will always be the fastest Pokemon on the field against Shmon's team with all kind of speed control equal. So I figured I'd want to play the fast mode more, and so I went with Azumarill being very fast, again, to maximize like the number of attacks I get off and the amount of damage. Now down to the Hydreigon. I am back to the old classic choice specs. You do see it's Terra Electric here. That is because I wanted a way to hit Primarina. I am running the Terra Blast. Of course, Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, the staples on a choice spec set. And I wanted a fire move here to hit the King Gambit, so I opted for Heat Wave. Just gives me a way to hit the King Gambit while next to the Electabuzz, so it won't get kind of redirected away by Follow Me. And of course, Terra Electric, Terra Blast, specifically for Primarina. I guess it kind of helps with Quillfish too. It can hit Scyther super effectively if I need it to, but the modest Terra Electric, Choice Specs, Terra Blast should one-hit KO most Primarina unless they're investing in special defense specifically. So that could be a nice way to close out a game if necessary. Finally, down to Talonflame. I did go for the defensive Terra Grass this time around. There's a few water types there that Electabuzz threatens electric moves, and figured Grass was the best way to dodge some of those damaging attacks. I am Covert Cloak, really just for the Salazzle. Like Fake Out could be a little bit annoying for this team, so I wanted to go with that Covert Cloak here. And perhaps the weirdest and or dumbest thing I've done all season is run Flame Body Talonflame. I am a little bit worried about Serena. That's also why I'm not running Aqua Jet on my Azumarill, is because of that Serena. That Queenly Majesty ability will block any priority attacks, and so I really don't want my Brave Birds or Dual Wing Beats, like flying type attacks, to be blocked in this case, especially because something like Blaziken or Scyther will be taking a lot of damage from it, even like Appleton. But I want to be able to use those flying type attacks regardless of what HP I'm at. And I figure because Talonflame is the fastest Pokemon on either team, I should be able to go for the Tailwind on the first turn, and then if it doesn't take any damage, normally Serena could have been swapped in to block those Brave Birds, but because I'm running Flame Body, and I still have the speed advantage, those Brave Birds cannot be stopped. Might be silly, we'll see how that goes, but I do think it's a kind of a cool idea to make sure that I'm still getting off that damage here, because the Brave Bird damage can be a really important part of some game plans with this team. I'm running Flare Blitz, again, just a way to hit King Gambit. I'm not counting it on my list of ways to choose King Gambit, because it's not going to want to KO it, but it's just a nice way to guarantee that I'm able to hit the King Gambit. It covers for Terra Steels, which could be popping up. Tailwind is a given on Talonflame. I want to be able to get the speed advantage, potentially match the Tailwind coming out from Shmon's Scyther. And then, I guess Quick Guard counts as a way to choose King Gambit. The main reason I have Quick Guard here is to stop Sucker Punches from this King Gambit. I guess it could stop something like Fake Out as well from the Salazzle if that comes. But really it is just for the King Gambit. Again, I'm just really scared of Swords Dance King Gambit with Coaching Blaziken and Follow Me Electabuzz and Intimidate Quillfish, and Tailwind with Scyther, and all these different things. So if I can find ways to prevent King Gambit from existing and doing what it wants, I'm going to take them. And so Quick Guard here is just, again, to block those Sucker Punches. I do think this actually could come up more so than any of using those cheesy fighting moves, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. So that's my team for top 8. If I win this match, I will go on to the semifinals, which would be great, but Shmon and the Iron Hantwerp are standing in my way. Let's see how it goes. Again, I'm a little bit nervous about this match. I think Shmon has a really solid team, both in the draft, and of course the 6 also looks pretty good too. It looks like he brought Electabuzz, Blaziken, Quillfish, Scyther, Primarina, King Gambit. Looking at the Terras, he sent me Electabuzz is Ghost, Primarina is Steel, King Gambit's Fire, Quillfish is Water, Scyther Steel, Blaziken Grass. So I do think this is a really solid Dugtrio kind of game. He's got 4 Ground Weeks and just the Scyther that resists, but of course I've got the Rock Slide. Quillfish, with the Intimidate, could be a little annoying, but since it's Terra Dark, I can pretty easily double it up with something like Earthquake and Dark Pulse and be pretty good there. A little worried about the Blaziken getting out of hand, so I think I might want to be bringing this Azumarill, just to have something that can take its stabs pretty easily. And then I think Talonflame is also pretty good here. The Quick Guard for blocking possible Sucker Punches later on could be nice. So I think I'm just going to run with this. Scyther can learn Tailwind, so if he does lead the Scyther, and I guess, and the Quillfish, and gets the Intimidate with on the Rock Slides, that could go up, but otherwise the speed, I think, is looking to be mostly in my favor. I do think the Trick Room mode is also very playable here as well, but I'm not going to lead off with it in this first game yet. Let's see, I don't know what I would least or most want to see here. Quillfish Blaziken. Alright. That's not too bad. It is the Intimidate, so Dugtrio isn't down to -1 immediately, which isn't great, but I am threatening huge damage with Earthquake still, and Dark Pulse covers the Quillfish pretty well. I guess I do have to worry a little bit about the Blaziken, because I mean it's presumably speed boost and will most likely be going for Protect on this turn, but I think this is a fine move to start off with. Wouldn't be surprised to see a double Protect, and this is kind of the least info I can give away on this turn if Shimon does go for that. Blaziken does Protect as expected. No Protect from Quillfish though, so Earthquake plus Dark Pulse, despite the Intimidate, may be enough for a KO here. We'll see. Especially if it's not Shukaberry or something. Just under half, and Dark Pulse with the choice specs, hopefully we'll pick it up. Okay, that's really good. I feel very good about that. Of course, I maybe would have liked that damage on the Blaziken, but the Protect there with the speed boost was always going to come through. Now I do have the option to Terrastalize my Hydreigon if I really need to. Primarina comes in. Makes sense. This would be a nice time to swap to Azumarill, potentially. Or I am also not opposed to just like sacrificing the Hydreigon right here. I almost think that's the play, just to go for like the Dark Pulse Earthquake or something. If I get some damage with Earthquake, Dark Pulse, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Terra comes through, that's fine. Surely Blaziken, yeah, Terra Grass. So if he goes for something like Close Combat into my Hydreigon, not the greatest turn, but I am still breaking a potential Focus Sash. I get some damage off. Oh, just coaching. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I think I'm fine with that, though. Especially if this KOs Blaziken. I think there's a decent chance that it does. Oh, that did nothing. Specs Dark Pulse? Okay, we're good. The Primarina at +1 defense might be slightly annoying, but at the same time, I've gotten him down to his final 2 Pokemon. I can potentially swap out my Dugtrio here if I want to reset the Intimidate. My Hydreigon is still also very healthy. What do I have left? Talonflame and Azu. What's this? King Gambit. Okay. Yeah, what I'm gonna do here is... Oh, you know what? If I get the reversal off, I just kind of win. I'm going to Dark Pulse the Primarina and... Man, I really want to try and get reversal off here, but I also do have superpower on Azu, so it actually may not be necessary. I definitely don't think Talonflame is necessary here, so I might just sacrifice it, and then protect the Dugtrio. Sacrifice it, of course, if a Hyper Voice comes through. I don't know why that wouldn't be the choice. If for some reason Talonflame survives this, I can use the Quick Guard reversal on the next turn, but again, I don't think that's going to happen, and this also gives me a way to get Azu in without risking too much here. Oh! Oh. Okay. Okay. Do I go for it? He probably just does the same thing, right? I'm just going to go for it. I want it to work. I don't really care if it doesn't. Quick Guard will block the Sucker Punch. No Protect. Okay, good. Oh, this is great. Let's see, Reversal comes through. Hopefully with the... Even with the Intimidate. Yeah, okay. Fantastic. Cannot have possibly gone better. Primarina probably gets 2 KOs here, yeah. So it's at +1. What is it? Attack, defense, special attack, and special defense. Crit matter? No, it didn't. So I think I do probably have to reveal the Terra Blast on this Hydreigon, just to make sure I win this. I don't think it would be wise for me to do anything different here. Although, no, I'm not going to risk it. That would be silly. The fact that I am Terra Electric should give away to him that I have Terra Blast anyway, so I don't think there's any point in trying to pretend I don't have it. Oh, I didn't change the Terra. Oh, shoot. Oh, that's not good. Ooh. Huh. I didn't change the Terra on any of my Pokemon, did I? Well, now we just kind of hope we can attack through the boosts here. Okay, we're fine. Luckily, it didn't come into play. I am going to message Shimon right now and tell him that I have not changed my Terra types. So I'm going to take a brief pause on the recording and come back to you and see what happens. And we're back. Shimon was gracious enough to let me change my Terra types to what they should be. So now they will match the types that you see in the team preview rundown for the first half of the video. Since I didn't actually use any of them in my last match and it didn't necessarily affect anything, he was also very kind enough to just let that game count. So what could have been a big mess up on my part luckily goes unpunished here, but we still have another game to win. Knowing the Pokemon that Shimon brought, I do think this Trick Room mode is looking pretty solid still. However, I'm a little worried about trying to break through that Primarina in Trick Room, so I think I might still avoid it if I can. This time around, I think something like Talonflame Hydreigon's very good, just to get that Tailwind up right away, and then I can go with the Dugtrio and Azumarill in the back. I didn't have to give away that I'm not Gale Wings, but I also, I guess it doesn't really matter since he didn't bring this arena, so I probably would prefer Gale Wings in this moment just because the Blaziken with the speed boost might become a bit of an issue, but we'll see. It was a risk I was happy to take, and even though it hasn't necessarily paid off, maybe I'll get a burn or something. That would be kind of funny. Scyther Blaziken into Talonflame Hydreigon. Totally fine with that. I'm able to like match the Tailwind before it goes up, which I appreciate. I am debating going for the Terra on Hydreigon. It would be nice to not have it get when it KO this turn, but at the same time, I don't know if I necessarily care. So I think I am just gonna Tailwind and Draco the Blaziken. I'm kind of asking for a Primarina swap doing this, aren't I? So that might be a little bit annoying, but we'll see what happens. Because I get Tailwind up first, even if Scyther does have Tailwind, it's going to be Primarina, isn't it? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was Primarina. Oh, never mind. It was Quillfish. Okay, that's fine. So if Scyther does have Tailwind, I'll still get to attack with Hydreigon first, because my Tailwind will go first, as we're seeing here. Which means Draco Meteor should come through. Yeah. Not Sash or anything, so Quillfish goes down immediately again. Also, again, just like a really good scenario for the Dugtrio to be in. Matches the Tailwind, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I totally thought that was going to go a lot worse than it did. Poseidon, this is the Primarina. Not surprised to see it come in now. I could just, like, double the Scyther. I'm just gonna do that. Brave Bird and Draco Meteor the Scyther. I forget what Terra type it was. Oh, it's Steel. Okay. Oh, so I Flare Blitz it. Yeah. Flare Blitz and Draco Meteor the Scyther, in case it goes for the Terra. Doesn't. So it might just get knocked out here. Survives the Flare Blitz. It should attack before Hydreigon though. Actually, yeah. But not gonna KO it. So if Draco connects, that means we just get another knockout here, and then Dugtrio kind of runs the game. Yeah, that's great. Okay. I wonder if this is a Calm Mind or a attack. Okay, I would much rather this happen. I do wish Hydreigon got knocked out there, but c'est la vie. Now the question, I'm not really a question, I'm definitely bringing Dugtrio. Question is, do I go for the Terra on Dugtrio just for the boosted earthquake damage? And I think the answer is yes. So I don't need the poison on a Azumarill anymore. I'm going to be neutral to one of the Primuna's attacks regardless. So yeah, I'm just going to go for the Terra Earthquake. I forget what the Primuna is Steel. Okay, I'm just going to Draco the Blaziken. I can't swap a Azumarill in on a Terra Ground Earthquake, obviously. That would be pretty rough. See, the Primuna we know has Hyper Voice, Calm Mind. I wouldn't be surprised to see Protect. Yeah, Protect. This is probably Protect coming through here. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. This certainly won't KO Primarina. I guess he does get the Hyper Voice off here. Citrus Berry, sure. Which, yeah, okay, then the Blaziken can knock out Dugtrio on the following turn. That makes sense. But now, can he get rid of the Azumarill is my question. I don't know if he's got firepower to do that. Speed boost. So, like, do I protect? Which one do I protect? That's the real question. Shoot. This is tough. I do fear the Blaziken is Focus Sash. Do I think he goes for the coaching? That's the main question. No, I think he goes for the attack on the Dugtrio, but I'm just gonna go for it anyway. I don't think this is the right play. This Blaziken. Maybe that means he went for coaching or like attacked a Azumarill or something. Oh, is it for like protect coaching or something? I'd be okay with that. Oh, okay. Dodge? Do we dodge? No. Okay. Well, in that case, what do we do here? I think I just go straight for Play Rough into Primarina. If he goes for the coaching, I kind of doubt Primarina gets knocked out, which could be annoying. But it's kind of our only option here. And I would still have to somehow get 2 hits into Blaziken if it is Focus Sash. We know it's got Heat Wave, Protect, Coaching. I wonder what the 4th attack is. If it's not something that can hit a Azumarill, there's an okay chance I still win this. That's unlucky. Double Protect. Surely this is a coaching, right? Yeah. Yeah, now I probably need a crit or something. I mean, I have to keep going for Play Roughs into Primarina. That's like the only damage I can come through here. The nice part is that the Primarina is not boosted, so maybe Moonblast won't do enough to like knock me out after a couple life orbs. Yeah. We shall see. That's still a lot. I mean, I feel like I have to just do it still. It really just comes down to what this Blaziken has in terms of attacks. It is just Heat... Oh, it doesn't matter then. So as long as he connects one more Heat Wave, I am going to lose. If it's Focus Sash, I'll just lose anyway. So maybe we can find that out, but Blaziken did get me. I realize now I haven't terastallized at all yet. Alright. Heat Wave will end the game. Alright, alright. So what went wrong there? I didn't manage the Blaziken well enough. I'm still kind of operating under the assumption that it is Focus Sash. I guess there's a chance that's not the case. But who knows? It is 1-1 now. Game 3 of the quarterfinals. Winner of this last game will move on to the semifinals of the VG Caster League. Exciting. Game 3 here. I don't know what the right move is in terms of potential mix-ups. I think the Trick Room mode would be pretty solid. What am I doing? There we go. But I do just worry about that Primarina. Especially with the Citrus Berry, it might be a little bit hard to take down, especially if it gets some like coaching boosts and whatnot. So okay, what do we think? Talonflame Hydreigon, I think again, but I really just don't want to have to deal with like Primarina knocking out Avalugg and Trick Room, and then all of a sudden it has Trick Room against my whole team, so I really don't think that's a smart play. As much as I would love to have Primarina, the Avalugg in this matchup against everything else, I think it's just too scary against this Primarina. Schwann's done a good job kind of building this 6 rather, around the Primarina, because under the right circumstances it can be pretty hard for me to break. Same leads. Do I change anything this time is the question. No, I think I need to Tailwind. And I'm gonna Draco the Scyther this time. Okay, yeah, if that's Primarina coming in, I will be very happy about that. It is. Great. I really did not want to get caught going for Draco into the Primarina swap. I don't know if this KOs. It doesn't. Oh, it hits the Sash. Okay. Interesting. It sets up Tailwind. Alright. Okay. This is actually pretty fine then. The Scyther being the one holding the Sash means that Blaziken is not, which could be really important for me later on. That is great to know. Now I'm tempted to Terra Grass by Talonflame, so I get some more turns against this Primarina. Or I can get like a Brave Bird off into it. However, I don't know if that's worth it. In fact, it's almost definitely not. So I'm just going to Brave Bird the Primarina. And I'll go for a knockout here in the Scyther, just with the Draco Meteor. Scyther protects, fine with that. I'm going to get a nice Brave Bird off here. It's really important, breaks the Focus Sash there. Or not the Focus Sash, gets the Citrus Berry out of the way. Surely Hyper Voice comes through here, and then the question is, do I go Dugtrio or Azumarill? I think I go Azumarill. And I like Terra Ground Earthquake again, honestly. I guess the question is, can I afford the Terra Ground Earthquake here, knowing that the Quillfish is in the back? I think I can. No, I'm actually going to go for the Rock Slide and swap to Azu. I doubt he lets me get that Earthquake off, is my thinking right now. And by making this play, I cover for him going for, like, Protect on Primarina and dual Wing Bait into the Dugtrio. So as long as Rock Slide hits here... Okay, I'm good. Okay. Yeah, so the Scyther revealing dual Wing Beat meant that, I mean, Scyther always carries that, but just knowing that it could have possibly knocked out my Dugtrio through the Focus Sash, I think necessitated that play. And swapping the Hydreigon out is nice because that allows me to reset whatever attack I want to use with it. The Blaziken is Terra Grass. I think I Earthquake and Ice Spinner the Blaziken. I'm pretty sure I can afford that damage on a Azumarill. This is almost certainly the Blaziken Terastallizing, yeah. Double Protect again. Thankfully, I don't really care this time, because I did call exactly this play. I'm guessing a coaching comes out from Blaziken, but that shouldn't matter. Oh, it's just Heat Wave. Okay. Great. Okay. If this is Quillfish in the back, I'm pretty sure I just win. Because Terra Electric Hydreigon cleans up from there. What could it be that I wouldn't want to see? Kingambit and Electabuzz are the other options. Electabuzz could be annoying, but I do have the Terra Ground here. Okay, it is Electabuzz. I think that's fine, honestly. I can protect. I haven't Terra'd, right? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is protect the Dugtrio. I'm going to just go for Play Rough into Primarina. What this does is make sure Primarina goes down to the Terra Ground Earthquake. If by some reason, or if the Electabuzz like Thunderbolts Azumarill or something and knocks it out, then I get the Hydreigon swap in, and the combo of like Terra Ground Earthquake plus whatever other attacks should be enough for KOs too. Electro Web probably KOs, if not the Primarina finishes me off. Yeah, not a big deal. Hyper Voice is almost definitely coming out here. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. So Azumarill does go down, but I will have my Hydreigon in the back to help me clean this up. Now I think I do go... Oh no, do I want the I want the Terra Ground more. Because hopefully... I'm assuming Terra Ground Earthquake should KO the Electabuzz from here. Maybe even the Primarina, but can't really know for sure. And I am going to Dark Pulse. I could Heat Wave just to like guarantee, or like try and cover both slots if Earthquake doesn't KO either, but I would much rather get the 100% accurate here and not risk like missing a Heat Wave to lose the game or something. There's a good chance Terra Ground Earthquake just takes 2 KOs here, but I know there's also a good chance that Dugtrio is weak, and that doesn't happen, so we're going to find out. Do get the Terra Ground for those extra powerful Earthquakes. Unless my math is really bad, Dugtrio should attack first here, and with the Levitate I won't hit myself, but maybe this is the game-winning Earthquake? We will find out. Hits both the Electabuzz and the Primarina. Oh, just barely misses a KO on both. An Electro Web comes through. Not gonna hit Doug Trio, does hit Dragon. Hyper Voice is probably what the Primarina used here, but oh, it doesn't even matter because I attack first still. Great. If the Primarina had gotten the chance to attack, what either would have happened is Hyper Voice KOs Doug Trio and does a little damage to Hydreigon, but then I still get the damage off into Primarina and win the game that way. Or if Primarina Moonblast the Hydreigon, obviously Doug Trio will still be the fastest thing in the field, and then knock out both of them at the very end there. Feint coming through for Electivire. That's a cool tech. Definitely a move that is very powerful in this kind of closed team sheet format, but thankfully Doug Trio hangs on. We'll claim the last KO here, and I will move on to the semifinals of the VG Casters Cup. Really great games, Shimon. It was fun to get to play another trainer from outside my division. Also, if I didn't mention this earlier, Iron Hantwerp is a incredible name for a team. I think you have the best team name in the league, so congrats for that. But I'm really excited. I get to move on to the semis, top 4 of this fun little league that we are running with some of our fellow casters, and I hope you've all enjoyed following along so far. I'll be back with you next week for top 4.